Josh Green here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by the baddest nerd on the planet, Mr. Brandon Scott. First time I've spoken to you, Brandon. How you doing?
I haven't spoken to you yet, Josh. How are you doing,
You've
man?
avoided me, mate.
I have. I've avoided you like the plague. I'm sorry, but he's finally pinned me down and got me. No, it's nice to speak to you, man.
No, nice to be speaking to you as well. We were just talking off camera there. There's a nice little cut just above your eyebrow.
It's for
Uh,
you.
Suffered in Sheffield. Was it 2, 3 weeks ago now? I was there on the night, and
It was 2 weeks ago. It was 2 weeks ago this weekend.
yeah. I mean, looks to be healing pretty well, mate.
To be fair, the doctor, Yaz, he came in on the night. He's a surgeon and he's fixed it up. He's done a great job, to be fair. He was there within 10 minutes, but it worked out well because obviously Sonny and Grant got in contact with him to come and do the surgery. But in the Steel City gym, sometimes I stay behind to work with the kids. And it's ironic that I play around with Yaz's kid on the pads. So he said, when I knew it was you, I came straight away. But it's funny in it how life works out that I didn't even know he was a face surgeon. Didn't even know. I was speaking to him like 2 weeks before the fight, like, just training all the little kids. And then 2 weeks later, the dad's doing surgery on my head, covering me up a cut.
How how concerned were you with the cut when you realised it opened? Not just in the fight, but sort of post fight, because it's obviously gonna curtail things a little bit.
Well, here's the thing, right? Is if you've seen it happen, when he headbutted me, I just felt it's shocking how warm blood is, right? I just felt this warm liquid run down my face, and it was the face of my opponent that made me know it was bad because he just went. He looked like he'd seen a ghost, and he went put his hands up like that, and I thought, oh, and the blood just ran down my face, and it was almost just like it was like a robot, and I ran out of battery. I just kind of went, and then I just seen this blood just tip out of my head and it was hitting the floor and I knew it was bad then. But obviously I didn't see it till about half hour after the fight. All I was seeing was I was going backstage and everyone was looking at me going, oh. The doctor was going, oh. All the opponents were coming into the doctor's room afterwards. They'd look at me and they'd go, oh. And I was like, well, somebody please just show me this fucking cut. Like, how bad is it? They let me into the room next door where there was a mirror. I looked in the mirror and I went, oh. It was, I know I shouldn't have done this. It was stupid, but I was like opening it up like that. And I could practically see my skull. And I was like, Then I'd go again. I'd go, but I didn't realize how bad it was until I seen it in the mirror. I just thought it'd be a little cut or a gaping, gash and knife wound looking thing in my head. But as you can see over here, it's going to leave a pretty cool scar. I'm covered in scars now. I've got a scar there on my hand, on my hip from the operation, and now here.
Is that the coolest one you got?
Oh, this is the coolest one. I don't want it to leave. My mother hates it when I say this because my mother was fuming with me. I got there. She's like, Brand, your face, it's ruined through boxing. I got a flat nose as well. But I don't want this scar to leave because to me, they're almost like battle scars. Do you know what I mean? And it's like every scar has its own individual little story.
Mm.
And also, it looks cool.
What what is the time frame now for you to get back in the ring? That's obviously going to cause a little bit of a delay. Are we looking sort of next year now, or?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm way too eager for my own good. Like I've just got back from Saudi Arabia, and my manager Lee was there, Dalton was there. All the people from the Steel City gym, and I was saying to them, oh, how long do you reckon I can start sparring again? Like 2, 3 weeks? I said no, because it's only a little cut healing. 2, 3 weeks. Lee just looks at me and goes, "Get this boy away from me. Get him away." He's like, "You're doing my head in 2, 3 weeks." He said, "You're not sparring again till like end of the year." I was like, "What?" I was like, "It's only a cut. Like, what are you on about? It's only a little. I've never been cut before." Turns out I'm gonna have to take a couple months off sparring and everything now, which I didn't realize. So I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna need a camp to spar because the fights aren't easy anymore. The fighters are coming to win, so I need to be prepared. But maybe February time, we'll see. I'll know in the moment when it's happening. Do you know what I mean? Because I thought in 2 to 3 weeks I'd be ready to spar. Apparently, I'm an idiot for thinking that. So we'll just see.
I'm gonna say the journey for you so far under Matchroom, we all know the story of how you got the contract over the line, but it's been a real promising start for yourself, and you must be really pleased with the progress that you've made so far with Eddie and the team.
Yeah, well, it's about taking the right steps at the right time, the right step ups at the right time, and the right step forwards in the right time. Like that last fight I had, that opponent was no joke.
Mm.
He was only beaten by one guy, and that one guy that beat him left with a Scottish and Celtic title. Those are good belts.
Mm.
Now I like he beat him, and he left with two belts. And I feel the gimmicks I do kind of overshadows the boxing ability I have because that, like I said before, that guy beat him. He got two good belts. I beat him, and because I did that Deadpool ring walk, which I loved, I left with comments like "Bring back the death penalty." Like, just see what I mean? Like, I just think it overshadows it a bit. But I don't care. No, it's all fun and games to me. But I know now that I'm at title level. I
Mm.
know I am because he was a title level opponent. I said in the interviews before the fight, if I beat this guy, I know I'm not lying to myself and saying I'm ready for titles. But I also said it's about taking the right steps at the right time. So we'll talk to the team, we'll progress in the right way. But I'm very happy, especially given this performance compared to the one before it. I'm very happy with how I'm progressing under the Steel City gym, under my new coach, Piers Goodjohn, who's like my best friend. So I'm in a good place right now.
Yeah, that's good to hear. You mentioned you were out in Saudi over the weekend, obviously with the Steel City lads and Liam Cameron, who was out there. Obviously involved in a controversial ending, to say the least, with Ben Whittaker.
Yeah.
I'm sure you had a pretty good view of that one. What did you make of it when you saw it?
Of what? The event or Liam Cameron versus Ben Whittaker?
The ending to Liam versus Ben.
Well, here's my take on it, right? Whether I just seen earlier that apparently it's been confirmed that he's had an ankle sprain. It's very hard to prove an ankle sprain. I'll just say that about it. But it's not for me. It's not what how the fight ended. It's what direction the fight was going in before it ended. I think that has a bigger part to play in this whole controversy because if Ben was winning easy and then he hurt his ankle, people would be like, that's in. But it's because of what was happening. Do you know where I'm coming from here?
Yeah.
Two more fights. I don't care what no one says. Two more fights. Liam would have got him out of there. He was done. He was spent. Liam was getting on top of him. And then that happened. So I'm not saying he quit. What I am saying is I can see where people are coming from when they're saying that with how the fight was going because that was Liam's fight to lose. That was Liam's fight to lose. But it's not a lot. I know it was a draw, and I think Liam was robbed of a win. But look at Liam's stock. His stock's risen loads now. He's signed by Queensbury. Is everyone knows him now from this whole WWE thing that's happened when you got suplex city'd over the over the back rope. So in a way, it's a win because no one gave him a chance. No one gave him a chance. And Liam's very underrated. Look at the loss he had against Lyndon Arthur, split decision loss. He's Liam is very underrated, and I'll tell you what, no one deserves it more than him because he is such a nice guy. He may look scary. I openly tell him when I first came to the gym, I was petrified of you. I said, "You looked so scary." I said, "You're as soft as a guy can be." No, he's such a nice guy, and I tell you what, he deserves the world. So I'm so pleased that he's getting it.
Yeah, I think lots of people share the sentiments with Liam. He's had a really hard time over the last few years, and now got that deal with Queensbury. I mean, we
Yeah,
hope that the rematch happens between the two. Do you think we see the rematch between Liam and Ben?
I think that Ben Whittaker will struggle to gain any pride back, or especially gain any of the public back if he goes any other way.
Hmm.
That's kind of the only fight there that people want to see right now for him. Like there was Ben Shalom was saying we want him to headline in the US. Liam's kind of got that script and just gone. Do you know what I mean? He has proper ripped the script up there, but like I said, he's now with Queensbury. Frank Warren will know what to do with him. He's been promoting fighters longer than I've been alive, but he will know what to do with Liam. But I think that's the biggest fight there, and I think Liam does the same again in the next fight.
Final question on that one, and just really on the stick that Ben Whittaker has taken online, a lot of abuse over the last couple of days. do you sort of understand where people are coming from when they say he's quit, he's not injured, and we see the things like him smashing up a fan's phone and smashing up a wall inside the
Yeah.
venue? There's a lot going on at the moment.
I'll tell you what, I'm gutted I missed that because we were in the airport together. My flight was half hour before his. So he's clearly smashed that guy's phone about 10 minutes after I boarded onto my plane. Oh, I'd have loved to see that. But it's hard because I'm sure I get a fair bit of stick online. Let's just say I divide some opinions. But it's hard because that was Ben Whittaker's. I'm Team Cameron all the way, but that was Ben Whittaker's big moment to shine. And if he has injured if he has genuinely injured his foot, then and he's got all these people saying he's quitting. It would be hard for him. So it's a really tricky situation. I think I actually think Liam would have stopped him if the fight was going on, but because the fight didn't technically finish and because of what happened, yeah, I can see why he's angry. I can see why Liam's angry. It's kind of a bad ending to a fight, but controversy sells, which is why it's had millions of views all over social media. So I just don't really know what to say on it all, other than it could have ended a lot worse when they flipped over the rope like that. It could have ended a lot worse. It could have.
Certainly could. I have to ask you about the main event as well. Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol. A fantastic fight and a real clash of styles. Lots of people have really struggled to sort of pin down a winner. And I know, having watched bits and pieces back, I sort of keep flip-flopping between which way I think it edged. How did you feel about it?
I don't think nothing's changed after the fight as before. Like before the fight, everyone was going, "Who do you think's going to win?" Because that was the talk of the week out there. It was all, "Who do you think's going to win?" Beterbiev or Bivol, and everyone was like, "Oh, I keep swapping. I don't know if Bertbiev's going to win. I don't know if Bivol's going to win." And now that the fight's done, you go, "Who do you think won?" And they're going, "Oh, I don't know. I think Bertbiev won, but then I couldn't see Bivol winning." It was such a it's as 50-50 as boxing can be. But it was some of the highest level boxing you can see at the same time. I had Bivol winning, edging it. It wasn't a robbery. It wasn't a robbery. But I had Bivol winning by 2 rounds.
Hmm.
But at the same time, I can see why people say Beterbiev won. So it's tricky. It is tricky. And don't go clipping me there on YouTube saying Bivol robbed Brandon because you did that before boxing. Was it? Yeah, seconds out with Daniel Dubois. Okay, I said I think Joshua wins because Daniel Dubois hasn't really improved in the sense of his skills, but he's gritted for his fights and he's done really complimentary. Seconds out, karma comes out. Daniel Dubois hasn't improved his skills. Do you realize how stupid I looked, especially with how the fight played out? Do you realize how much of an idiot I looked after that? So I don't think Bivol was robbed. I just personally thought he edged it.
We can certainly pass on that message. What do you think? Lots of people said it was a masterclass in boxing from Bivol, but obviously he didn't get the decision on the night. What do you believe he can do to make sure next time that there isn't a decision? And is a KO something that you believe is possible from a Bivol point of view?
Well, it's easy for me to sit here and say it, but when you're in the ring with a guy who's
Mm.
knocked out everyone he's ever fought with an amateur record of like 300 fights and only 5 losses, it's very easy for me to sit there and say it. But in the rematch, Bertabiev's going to be if there is a rematch, Bertabiev's going to be making adjustments as well. So it's not just Bivol that has the opportunity to change. Bivol, I think Bertabiev's going to be changing as well. So there's such high level fighters. It was a masterclass from both of them to a degree. It was just a very high level fight. Because you would see them thinking that they say boxing's chess. That was as chess as boxing gets. And for me, who loves boxing with a passion, I loved it. That was such a fascinating fight. And I thought Bertbiev showed everyone that he can box as well as he can just knock people out. But Bivol also came forward a lot. Bivol pushed Bertbiev back quite a lot. Who the hell saw that coming? Who the hell saw that coming? That was a game of cat and mouse before the fight started. And next thing you know, Bivol's pushing Bertbiev back. Then you've got Bertbiev boxing on the outside. So I don't know. I eat my words. I don't know who wins. It's the same with Fury Usyk. I don't know because they're so high level. You can't predict what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's a good way of looking at it. I've got one final question for you, Brandon, before we call
Yes.
this a day. You're the baddest nerd on the planet. Who are
Yes.
your adversaries, do we think?
What does adversary mean?
Who are your rivals to the baddest nerd on the planet belt?
Nobody. No.
There's no number one contender.
That who else? What other boxer have you seen that walks out with a Darth Vader helmet or does a Deadpool dance? I'm not only the baddest nerd on the planet, I'm the only boxing nerd on the planet. There is no adversaries. I am unmatched. I'm one of one. A lone riding soul drifting through the wind. Okay? There are no adversaries. And if someone wants to come for that title, they're going to be shot down pretty quickly.
Brandon, that's what we like to hear, mate. Thank you very much for your time today, and we'll catch up again
Perfect.
soon.
Thank you for having me on, Josh.